Good Monday morning, everyone. Day after the Super Bowl, and still not fun. Still not fun to live in this world where your heated rival is the world champion, but that is the world that we reside in, and all we can do is move forward, knowing that the best way to do something about it is to build a team that can take the title of world champion back in 2022. So, we've had our How Much to Keep series running for the past several weeks now. We went over all the players who have the opportunity to get a big contract this offseason, something like $7 million a year plus. And then we ran through all the players that are going to get somewhere between 2 to 6 million a year, maybe 1.5 to 6 mil a year. So now we got to mop up on the rest of them. So this is going to be like a lightning round. We're going to go through all of our outgoing free agents who I didn't make a dedicated video about, and I'll quickly say whether or not I think we should keep them, because that's kind of the only question, right? These players that we're going to go over in this video, they don't really have any room to negotiate. They're going to either get vet min plus, or nothing. They just can't expect any more than that. These guys are just happy that they're in the NFL at this point. If they can get that 900K, 1 million, 1.1 million, that for the most part is going to be about as good as they can get. Maybe some of these guys are going to go 1.4, but I don't think any of these guys are going to go higher than 1.5 a year. Probably just 1 year deals too, mostly or fully non-guaranteed. It's just a matter of, do we have a job? And because of that, there's nothing to really calculate with these players. The only question that needs to be answered is, do you want to bring them back on a min or min plus deal? And because of that, obviously it's going to be a lot quicker. So like I said, we're going to blow through these. We're just going to pull up the list on Spotrac here. There are a couple of guys that Spotrac missed, I think because we pulled them on mid-season, and this list just didn't get updated, but we'll go through those as well. There are only really 2 that I can think of, and only one of them is worth talking about. But we're going to use the Spotrac minimum salary chart to get an idea of what they will be getting. And again, this is just going to be binary. Do you want him back at this price, or do you not want them back at this price? If you don't, then you just let them go, hopefully get a minimum contract on another team. All right. So skipping past the first several names, we get to our first guy here. Geno Smith, who was our backup quarterback, actually started 3 games last year, played pretty well, but went 1-2. Did a good job of avoiding turnovers for the most part, but he did come up short at the end of some close games. And while I would have been fine bringing back Geno Smith before the offseason started, he kind of made the decision for us with what he was doing on the highway right after the season ended. So if you bring back Geno Smith, you're probably looking at about veteran minimum, maybe vet min plus. For a guy like Geno, the vet minimum is 1.12, so maybe you're looking at like 1.2. But with that, with what he did in the right after the season ended, I'm looking to use this opportunity to get another backup quarterback, so I'm turning down Geno. Okay, Alex Collins is next. He was a running back who actually played a decent amount for us because of Carson's injury. He had a couple good moments, and then he just ran out of gas. I think he was playing through an injury. And he is obviously a veteran running back. I believe that the minimum for him in 2022 would be about 1.035 million, so just over a million. Am I going to offer that to him? No. I am trying to remake my running back room a little bit here, and I want to bring in somebody with fresh legs, somebody who, preferably a rookie, but somebody who's younger, somebody with more upside than Collins. Collins has probably already seen his best football, and if we're going to be bringing back Rashad Penny, which I want us to do, we already have one guy in this backfield who is potentially very injury prone. I don't need another guy who just came off of 2021 where he got injured and really was ineffective trying to play through it. So that is a no for me. It's not the worst thing in the world if you bring him back for a mil, 1.04, excuse me, but I'm not doing it. Kyle Fuller would be next on the list. I think this one's a hard no. Kyle Fuller is just kind of a guy who's not really good at anything. I believe if you wanted to bring him back, you would be looking at 965. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it would actually be the 1.035 million. So 1 year, 1 million basically for Fuller. He's not really good at anything. He's not even good at center. He's even worse as a guard. I don't think he adds any special teams value. So Kyle Fuller might be one of those rare NFL players who literally isn't even worth a dollar. So yeah, I'm looking to remake the offensive line. We do need depth on that offensive line. We do need guys who are going to be cheap like a Kyle Fuller, but I need somebody with actual decent NFL ability. And Kyle Fuller got embarrassed so many times last year after looking like he was actually starting to settle in that I'm ready to move on there. Okay, next up we have Ryan Neal, a young and promising defensive back who last year made the veteran minimum for him at $920K. And Ryan Neal played a decent amount in 2021, and he actually played a fairly decent amount the previous year as well. So if anybody on this list is going to get more than the veteran minimum, it's probably Ryan Neal. So I believe the veteran minimum for Ryan Neal would be 1.035. I think he'll get more than that because he actually started a lot of games at the end of the season. But the thing is, even though he played a lot, he didn't really play well. And I think Ryan Neal kind of outed himself at the end of the season as being a guy who is good for 15 snaps a game, but after 15 snaps a game, you've got a problem. So I'm not looking to give Ryan Neal that much, but I can go to like 1 year, 1.4 million, maybe 1.5. But I'm thinking 1.4 million, and I'm bringing him back for that. Blessuan Austin is next, a 25-and-a-half-year-old cornerback who is a restricted free agent. So as a restricted free agent, we can slap a tender on him for 2.1 million, approximately 2.1 million. But Blessuan Austin is not a guy who I expect anybody to have their eyes on this offseason, so I'm not doing that. If I'm bringing back Blessuan Austin, I'm doing it for the veteran minimum, maybe a tiny bit more, but not really a whole lot more than that. For Austin, I believe it would be 965 grand. So I'm offering him 1 year, 965 grand, and not really willing to go too much higher than that. Maybe I go to like $1 million, but he's Blessuan Austin. Who's going to be forking over the big bucks for him? Brian Monet, defensive tackle who actually played a decent amount in 2021. He is a restricted free agent, so you can tender him. But again, I don't think you're going to need to. I don't think there's going to be that much interest in him. Same deal for Austin. You can offer Monet the veteran minimum of 965 grand. So am I willing to go a little higher than that? Maybe I'll go to $1 million, like I said with Blessuan. At the end of the day, he's a one tech when we already are paying $10 million this year to Puna against the cap. And he didn't exactly show himself to be some great player in 2021. So he's not somebody I view as a pressing need to keep going forward. So I'm willing to offer Monet that vet minimum 1 year. Maybe I'll go to like 1 year, 1 million, because he did play a decent amount last year. And he's not a terrible player or anything. He did have a couple of nice moments, but I can't go too much further than that. Honestly, in my ideal offseason, Monet ends up on the practice squad to start the year and would be even cheaper than that. But we'll get to that in a future video. All right, moving right along. Next, we got Penny Hart, and he is an exclusive restricted free agent, meaning that if we give him his offer, he will not be able to turn it down. He has to take it, and this is the only team he can play for unless we let him go. So, as near as I can tell, the offer that Penny Hart could take from us would be for about $895K. So call it $900,000. It might be less. It might be 825. I'm not sure how they count accrued years of service, but it's in this range. It's either 825 grand or 900 grand. Am I willing to offer him that? Sure. He can compete for the number 5 receiver spot with Cade Johnson and Aaron Fuller, and his contract's not really going to have any guarantees in it, so you can let him go and bring him back to the practice squad if he gets beat out. But sure, I'll give Penny Hart 900 grand or 800 grand or whatever to see what he's got in camp. Next up, we have John Reed, a cornerback that we traded for, cut, and then brought back, and actually played him a little bit at the end of the season. He's about to turn 26. He is another ERFA. He's in the exact same boat as Penny Hart. And do I want to bring back John Reed? The answer is yes. You have to give him the same consideration that you gave Penny Hart. I think it's either 900K or 825K. Either way, I think John Reed played all right last year, and we need nickel corners because I got some bad news for Ugo Amadi. I don't really want him here in 2022. So we need some nickel corners. John Reed is cheap. John Reed seems like he's got a little bit of potential, so I'm bringing in John Reed for that 825 or 900K. I hope it's going to be 825K, but it doesn't really matter that much either way. Yes to John Reed. Give me some cornerback depth, please, along with Neal and Austin. All right, the final guy we're going to take a look at here is Jamarco Jones. He's the tackle. Made $676,000 last year. I think he's had 3 major injuries in his career. When he's played, he's had moments of looking like he was okay, and he's had moments of looking pretty useless. So if you want to bring back Jamarco Jones, you're probably looking at $1.035 million. So basically $1 million for 1 year for Jamarco, and I am turning that down. No, thank you. He gets hurt too much. He's not that good even when he's healthy. I don't see a point here. So I think Jamarco Jones is a pretty easy one to shake your head at. We need to bring in some offensive linemen who at least have some upside this offseason. Jamarco's upside is practice squatter probably at this point. Maybe he can be like your 5th tackle or something, but he's not the guy. And I'm willing to move on. And that's it. That's actually it, because these 5 guys, who knows? They're all exclusive rights free agents. I literally don't know who Marcellus Sutton is. I've never heard that name before. I know who these guys are, and you may see all 4 of them get brought back to the practice squad because it's going to be super cheap. It's going to be, 825K for all 4 of them, Shepley, Radigan, Webb, and Warrior, but I don't know. I don't care. It just kind of depends on who else you're able to bring into that practice squad, because I certainly don't think there's going to be room for them on the active roster, even at that cheap price. So I would prefer that we get players with a little more upside than these guys. Maybe you bring back Radigan and Warrior. I kind of like those guys, but it doesn't really make a difference, and I have no strong opinion on the matter. So that's it for how much to keep. We went over every... Oh! You almost got me there, Spotrack, but you forgot Phil Haynes. You forgot Phil Haynes. He, I believe, if you bring him back, would be due the vet min of 1 year, $965,000. I'm doing that all day. Honestly, I would go up to like 1.2, 1.3 for Phil Haynes if I needed to. We should bring him back and make him a backup guard on this team. I think he's good. I think he's got some potential. Hopefully he can be like a 4th guard for you behind the starters and then one other guy. But if you need him to be your first man off the bench at guard, I think that's probably pretty good, because he played well at both guard spots last year. And I'm absolutely willing to pay a guy like that $1.3 million for a year. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, Adrian Peterson. But yeah, that question's been answered, guys. That question has been answered. I don't need to talk about that because Adrian Peterson has done the talking with his fist, apparently. Don't need to bring that guy back. All right. So that's it for how much to keep. That's a rundown of everyone that is an outgoing free agent on this team that I know of who has any relevance whatsoever. If you have any takes here, let me know down below. And we're going to continue to hammer out this offseason plan as the week goes on. We are very close to some important dates on the NFL calendar, and I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks.